Hi everyone, it's been a while, hasn't it? Today I wanted to unfocus a little bit. Instead of making a clip dumper guide, I wanted to specifically talk about the Superball and its current balance and combat initiation right now. Version 2.3 is coming up soon. I don't know when it's coming, but probably in like a couple months. The main show of this update is the complete recode of the entire game, which will fix many bugs, including that godforsaken enemy pathfinding, hopefully, and console support. I'm gonna ball with an Xbox controller, you just know that's coming up. I'm very excited for both of these things, but another aspect of this update that I wasn't aware of was balance. Apparently they're doing balance changes, so yeah. I'm going to be focusing on the balance changes I want for the Superball. I'm only considering Superball. Sure, I might mention Cannonball, but it's really only because the Cannonball is similar in some parts to the Superball. Otherwise, I'm completely ignoring the Cannonball or Ninja Stars. These two weapons have their own issues, and despite being a baller, I don't even really think I'm qualified to talk about those weapons and their balancing issues. I'm strictly talking about the Superball. I don't know, I think I'm pretty qualified, but I shouldn't be the only one talking about the Superball, so I encourage any other ballers to come out and talk about their issues with this weapon. Now on the surface, I think the changes to the Superball in version 2.2 were pretty damn good. It got the buffs it desperately needed, and now the Superball at least has something compared to other weapons. However, I still think there are fundamental issues with the Superball, and they should really be tackled in version 2.3. Fundamentally, I have issues with damage calculation, rebound combos, deflections, and lifesteal. I also have issues with certain synergies, accessories, and an enemy. Let's start with, fundamentally, my least favorite part of the Superball. This one thing, this little thing, this variable in damage calculation has costed hours of my life, and I'll never get them back. If you aren't aware, the Superball's damage is calculated from the velocity of the ball, aka how fast it's going, and the current rebound combo it has. No, not the style rank you get from rebounding. The Superball you throw has a built-in damage ramp up that increases the damage as you rebound it, capping at around 5 rebounds. Really though, the worst part of this is the velocity. Oh my god, this means that every single ball throw has inconsistent damage. Every throw, every rebound varies in damage, only really increasing flatly with rebound combos. Sometimes you do a little bit more damage, sometimes you don't do as much. Now, these small number changes are very minuscule on the surface, right? They just kind of make researching specific damage numbers for the Superball impossible. But you're doing around the same damage with every weapon, right? Right? No. Swords are king when it comes to rebounding, and it's not exactly why you think it is. For some godforsaken reason, in order to hit the hard limit of the Superball's damage, which is 500 damage per rebound, you need to stand 60 to 65 studs away in long range and rebound the Superball with the sword. Oh, and funny thing, if you're close to enemies and rebound with the sword, it actually does less damage. You know, the sword, the close-ranged weapon, when rebounding, does less damage at close range and does way more at long range. Not even medium range, mind you, the range where the Superball thrives in. Nah, long range. What? Meanwhile, from any range, do you want to know the maximum damage cap for the Superball when shot by any of the guns, wrenches, or just any long-range option? 350. For shooting the Superball repeatedly with any gun, slingshot coin, or wrench at any range, the damage cap is 350. Listen, I can understand range options dealing less damage when rebounding, but this feels less intentional and more accidental due to the way these weapons change the velocity of the ball. Okay, enough poking at numbers. Here's my issue. Velocity-based damage makes damage way too inconsistent and feels counter to the Superball. Again, if ranged weapons are supposed to deal lower damage when rebounding, then sure, it's fine. I guess I can understand it, but when the only other way of getting higher damage is to go out of practical range with the Superball and rebound it with the sword of all things, this velocity variable needs to get the heck out of here. 350.
Bro is back.
425. 500. Woo! Remove velocity from the damage calculations and just buff rebound combos. As goofy and silly as velocity-based damage is, it's not fun to deal with. No one likes having inconsistent damage, even if it's minuscule. It makes range options deal less damage unintentionally, and it makes the sword deal even worse damage at close range. I simply think this mechanic wouldn't work with a weapon like the Superball, and even grander, a game like CI. Then again, I'm no game developer, so what am I to say? I should also probably clarify that you can't just use sword to get 500 damage and then use one of the range options to continue it. The only way to transfer damage from weapons is using trowel, and that really only works with sword, so yeah, no, you can't just build a really high damage lead far away with the sword and then use the guns to continue it. No, you have to use sword in order to get that damage. Now, after removing velocity-based damage, we should take a look back at those rebound combos, and just the base damage of the Superball in general. I'm not fully sure how they work as of now due to that devilish velocity getting in the way of actually consistent damage numbers, but I think a good base damage for the Superball is 125. Every basic throw will now do 125 damage. Rebounds will now add 75 damage per rebound, with the damage overall capping at 550. This means it'll take 6 rebounds to fully cap a Superball. This would make the Superball miles less frustrating to use. If you really wanted to, you could make it so that sword increases the rebound damage applied depending on distance, making it so that you can start rebounding real up close to build up damage, and move away to medium range to rebound with another weapon once you build up said damage. Please, if there's anything to take away from this video, anything I could pinpoint any part of that is the most important, not even note, just plea to the developers, it would be this. Remove velocity from the Superball's damage calculation and revamp the built-in damage cap of the Superball. This would make the Superball way less frustrating, not only to use, but to learn as well. You know it's bad when the wiki page can't even decide what the hell this thing's base damage is. I'm not quite done yet with rebounds though. Rebound combos. Not the built-in damage ramp up, but the actual style. I wish they did more. There's very little reason to actually go for high rebound combos. Wait, this is actually the highest rebound combo I've ever gotten. Oh my god. Built-in damage caps at 5 rebounds, and you're much better off just throwing another Superball instead of trying to rebound a currently high rebound comboed ball. I think an interesting change would be super rebounding. Super rebounds happen when you reach a rebound combo of above 10, and will buff the Superball greatly. Reaching rebound combo 10 will add 100 damage to your Superball. That increases with every 5 rebounds, capping at 400 damage or rebound combo 25. You can essentially label these as tiers of super rebounds. Tier 1 being 10 rebound combos, Tier 2 being 15 rebounds, Tier 3 being 20 rebounds, and Tier 4 being 25 and beyond. On top of multiplying damage, the AoE effect that the Superball has will increase its size per tier, letting you take care of crowds with ease, so long if your Superball is, super enough. See what I did there? I'm a genius, dude. Visually, the Superball will start glowing and have a heavier, more exaggerated impact on hitting enemies, becoming more extreme as the rebound combo gets higher. Imagine hitting a giant with a max super rebounded ball and watching his ragdoll fly across the map. That would be really funny. Super rebounds can only be lost upon the ball being inactive for 2.5 seconds. If that happens, the Superball's effects will fizzle out and return back to its normal damage. Now, this poses another issue I have with rebound combos. Rebound combos are not based on the ball itself, but the enemy it hit. This means that when a beefier enemy like a giant dies before you can reach a rebound combo of 10, you lose that rebound combo. This means that super rebounds really only benefit bosses and don't really help with other enemies. So I'm gonna propose a change that reworks how rebound combos work. I'm sure it won't be too drastic. The new rebound combos will be based inside the ball rather than the enemy, and rebound combos will be retained so long as you continue rebounding and keeping the ball active. Let's say you start a rebound combo and reach say on a giant. If you continue rebounding and hitting fodder, they will also continue the combo and add to it. Rebound kills with AoE do not add on to this combo. It is only the direct hit and rebound on an enemy. Maybe add like a cooldown or something, I don't know. These changes would make it so that going for high rebound combos would actually be viable, instead of what we have right now where there's really no reason to continuously rebound after 5 rebounds. It also poses this question during heated fights. Imagine this. Do I risk saving this ball and keep on dealing high damage with super rebounds, or do I reposition from the scary bad guy in front of me and throw another ball at a way better place, forcing me to build up my rebound combo again? I think this would be really cool, as it forces the player to make a split-second decision instead of always running away and throwing the ball, which it kinda seems like you always do in base game CI. Just a small change I wanted to add to rebound combos. I don't really think there's any incentive to go for them outside brownie points, and also a lot of people's issue with the Superball is that it doesn't do a lot of single target, which I think is kind of the point of the Superball. And also imbuements exist, but I guess we'll just ignore imbuements. So having this little fundamental built-in mechanic that slightly increases your single target damage overall would be really nice. It solves 2 problems with 1 solution. If you could even count the second problem being a problem, or a skill issue. Deflections are simple. If your Superball hits an enemy projectile, it'll deflect it. Here's why I don't like it. First off, when a deflection does actually happen, usually the projectile just hits the ground, or it just flies above the enemy. At least with the sword, you can aim it wherever the projectile goes. Here, no, it just kind of goes wherever the ball decides it should go. And for some reason, it's almost never at the enemy. Sure, sometimes it can hit the enemy back, but that's really rare, and most of the time I try deflecting, it just straight up misses the enemy. So, for my first change, please make it so that projectiles deflected by the Superball actually deflect towards the enemy instead of being deflected by the angle of the ball. It'll make getting a deflection actually do something, since it'll hit the enemy and deflected projectiles explode on impact already, so just fix the targeting. That's really it. I just push deflections actually hit targets more. Okay, maybe my changes here to targeting are a little overkill. So, as a small balancing act, maybe have the accuracy of deflections worsen over time. Maybe it's just a flat time period, or maybe it worsens if you haven't rebounded the ball, something like that. I say this because Big Ball might become out of hand with deflections, and you could just shred crowds by standing inside a Big Ball, which doesn't really seem that engaging. Moving on to the next point, deflections give you lifesteal, and the lifesteal is kind of pitiful. Sure, healing from emerald blasters is actually pretty good, but that's just one enemy. Every other enemy, you just kind of heal pitifully. Like, sure, against smiths, yeah, same thing with emerald blaster, but it's just, no. Please buff deflection healing from 4 to around 6 or 8. Shut up, man. It'll make deflections actually a considerable option to choose for healing. Now, these changes are good for when a deflection happens, but it doesn't solve my second problem. Actually hitting the projectile in the first place can be really finicky. Sure, enemies like gunmen and emerald blasters and even smiths can be easy, but troopers, killbots, wizards, and even bosses to a certain extent can be pretty hard to hit. Now, I would say that this is a good thing, because not every single weapon needs to have a counter for an enemy. Get that off the screen. Get that off the screen. It isn't a perfect fix, but I really do think deflections should have their own hitbox on the Superball, and it should just be a little bit bigger to compensate for the size. I'm also gonna elaborate here and say that I don't think the deflection hitbox should increase whenever the Superball gets increased in size. I think big Superballs are good enough for deflecting. I just kind of want the base Superball to just be a little bit bigger when it comes to deflecting. That's it. Something more fundamental to the game rather than a specific weapon is lifesteal, and the Superball's lifesteal is lacking. Every primary weapon has a basic way of getting lifesteal, aka hitting enemies with your M1, whether it's the sword slash or headshots, and a more special, difficult way of getting lifesteal that you get from interacting with enemies in specific ways. Except for the slingshot for some reason. Parrying with the sword gives you a ton of lifesteal, and it forces you to time your sword swings. Interruptions force you to shoot specific targets at specific times, and reward a ton of lifesteal for it as well. So what does the Superball have? Well, it doesn't really have any basic lifesteal outside of using the built-in player lifesteal and getting close to enemies and hitting them with balls. And deflections, which, sure, if buffed with my little tweaks would actually make them pretty alright, but as of right now, deflections kind of suck lifesteal-wise. While my deflection tweaks can cover the special mean of getting lifesteal, I still think there should be some way to at least get a little bit of lifesteal that doesn't involve going into bread-smelling distance and hitting people with balls. So why not have the basic form of getting lifesteal just be from rebounding? Let's say you gain 3 to 4 HP per rebound within medium range. That is 40 studs near an enemy in a circle. I think that's how lifesteal range works, I hope. It's a pretty simple way of adding lifesteal to the Superball. Now you can get basic lifesteal from just rebounding, and you can get a lot of lifesteal from just deflecting. I think and hope that these changes would make the Superball have the same sustain as other primaries. Slingshot's a bit of an exception because it's kind of weird with its lifesteal, but I would like to see the Superball match the swords and guns. That would be nice. Okay, time for small changes. Fixed targeting. Okay, to elaborate, I'd love to make a whole essay right here and tell you how you should specifically fix the targeting, but I don't know how to do that. I don't really have the vocabulary to really let the developers know how to fix it because I don't make games.
Fuck, I'm holding W? What?
The most I can do is just give feedback.
Dude!
From what I noticed, the Superball loves to overshoot a lot. It's especially prevalent at long ranges trying to rebound it, or with imbuements. For some reason, imbuement effects change the Superball's physics. I don't know. Point is, this thing overshoots way too much, and I don't have many clips of it, but trust me, it gets in the way, especially with size variation. I don't know why, but size variation is just the devil for Superball players. Another small change is to give Superball a black or white outline whenever it's imbued. Some imbuement effects can really get in the way of knowing where the ball is and, well, where to shoot. So either tone down the effects or make an outline. Both would be really nice. Please fix when forced. You guys should also make it so that if you hit a Superball with any of the swords, the Superball will always try bouncing back to you. If you start rebounding with a sword, then swap to a ranged rebounder, then back to sword, the Superball will stop bouncing towards you because it's still using the ranged rebounder's bouncing physics. It doesn't swap to the swords, so yeah, please fix that. So those are my main issues with the Superball itself, and now I think it's a good time to talk about specific synergies and what I think needs to be changed. Originally, I was going to talk about the guns in depth, but honestly, the problems I have are more so on the weapon itself than the synergy. Like, the BB gun all-fire in general is just really inconsistent. It isn't even just a Superball synergy thing. Sometimes it pulls off the most god-tier play I've ever seen in my life, and sometimes it literally just does nothing. So yeah, the BB gun alt-fire is really wonky for some reason. Freeze Ray is the worst weapon to use for rebounding, but that's really just because it's the Freeze Ray. I don't know. At least make it so that the ice explosion rebounds all Superballs in it instead of the projectile itself. That would be pretty cool. Imagine multi-rebounds. That would be niche, but it'd be cool. Moving on to the Slingshot. The Slingshot coins have been a bit of a controversial synergy with the Superball. Don't get me wrong, it's great to have coins interact with the Superball. In fact, actually adding to the BB gun's alt-fire charge is a really cool mechanic, but the real problem here I have is nothing. Instead, many other people have found it annoying that their Superballs will eat their coin ricochets. Imagine trying to SOT kill a fireman, but because the Superball is in line of sight of the coin, it just targets the Superball instead of instant killing the fireman. I don't think there can be really a perfect fix, but I think the one I propose here is pretty alright. If a Superball has been thrown but has not been rebounded by any rebounder, such as hit with a sword or shot with a gun, slingshot coins will not target the ball. This means that so long as the slingshot user doesn't interact with the Superball when thrown, slingshot users can still use Superball as a pogo and not have their coins hard focus on the ball. For example, it'll let slingshot users consistently pogo above firemen with the Superball and SOT them, instant killing them, instead of what we have now where you do the same thing and it just targets the Superball for some reason. On the other hand, if a Superball is thrown and has been rebounded with any rebounder, slingshot coins will start targeting the ball. So as long as you interact with the Superball with any rebounder, it'll activate the Superball and cause slingshot coins to target it. This is sort of a best of both worlds solution, and I think it could really work, albeit maybe unclear to a new player, but I'm sure there's a way you can educate people on the new slingshot property. I'm sure it can't be that hard. Oh yeah, and make Superballs die when entering lava on Rocket Arena. A lot of people's coins, myself included, will target Superballs down here in the lava when they have no chance of coming back up. It's just annoying, and it's probably a developer oversight. For the travel tree, I think everything is actually fine except for one niche thing, the hammer's pocket ability. When pocketing a Superball with the hammer, releasing said Superball will make it do a lot more damage. Do you notice anything weird with this clip? Yep, the Superball is floatier. Oh my god, I hate this modifier. Instead of this, please make the Superball retain its normal physics and buff its damage flatly whenever it's pocketed. The floatier effects make rebounding incredibly annoying, and it doesn't help that this damage buff is actually really useful. It is incredibly frustrating knowing that your Superball can deal huge damage, but because it just decides to be floatier, it's really hard to use. That's just annoying to deal with.
Alright guys, guess who just discovered the best Superball tech of all time? So you might think a nuke would be good here, right? I'm wrong. Because you don't have a nuke. Except you do. You're thinking, oh, I have a Superball, I just rebound him, I can't nuke him. No, you can nuke with the Superball. Watch this. You were watching a master at work.
Yeah, did you know the Superball actually synergizes with the bombs? Apparently some silly creature didn't. I haven't played around with Superball nuking, mainly because the Superball's knockback with bombs is just too much. The bombs get launched so far that it's incredibly hard to even land a rocket on the bomb, and even if you do, it's probably out of the radius of actually hitting any enemies, even with the nuclear reaction's giant AoE. And you simply just have better options to nuke, like the swords or even walls if you really wanted to go there. So just make the bomb get launched in more consistent and predictable ways. Like if it's in midair and you hit it with the Superball, it gets launched straight up, no matter what. And if the bomb is grounded, make it launch towards wherever the player is looking, but it doesn't gain any vertical velocity. That would be kind of cool. That's all the complaints I have with Synergies. The Superball, despite its shortcomings with some Synergies, I think is actually in a really good place synergy-wise. It has a lot to offer and explore with many different playstyles, and that's a good thing. Also, some people have tried making the rocket launcher synergize with the Superball, and while I think it's a cool idea, yeah, good luck making these two do anything. Okay, it's time for probably one of my more controversial takes. Expandable does not need this stat. Expandable does not need 25% more damage. My problem with this stat is that it is complete overkill, and it kind of power creeps the Expandable above the literal accessory for mastering the Superball. My take here is to just straight up remove it, but if the devs really want to keep this damage buff, at least make it scale on the size of the ball. This means that instead of your balls doing 25% damage instantly and passively, it starts at 0 and gradually increases to 25% as you increase the ball. This means that instead of your Superballs doing 25% more damage from the get-go, it starts at 0 and gradually increases to 25 as you increase the size of the ball. That seems way more natural than what we have now. And to wrap it all up, enemies. I actually think every enemy is fine against the Superball. It's fun to engage with them, and it's fun to kill them. There's just one guy who's kind of annoying, and his name is Contrap. My only complaint with Contrap is that disarming his head with the Superball can either be the easiest or the hardest thing in the world. I don't know why, but sometimes he just disarms, and other times he just doesn't. So I just ask for disarms to be a little bit more consistent. Maybe increase his head hitbox. I don't know how you would go about this. My general opinion is to just increase his head hitbox just by a little bit, so just in case the Superball doesn't land a direct hit and still do some damage to its head. I don't know. I just ask for disarming this guy's head with Superball to be more consistent. If you do that, Windforce, my life will be owed to you. So to recap, out of everything I've spoken about, the biggest thing that I want changed is the Superball damage calculation. Remove velocity from the damage calculation and make Superball's damage numbers more consistent. It's not fun dealing with inconsistent damage, even if the idea of velocity affecting damage is fun on paper. Next, change Rebound Combos to be more impactful, as they don't really have any incentive outside of going for brownie points, and I think that's boring. You can totally do more with rewarding players for getting high rebound combos than just giving them style points. Deflections should be buffed heavily. As of right now, they're incredibly annoying to hit, and even when they do hit, they aren't very impactful, both in damage and lifesteal. The Superball's base lifesteal is lacking, and you should really be rewarded lifesteal for rebounding at least. Next, the Synergies. Make the guns more consistent and interesting, fix slingshot coins to be less annoying for both slingshot users and Superball users, remove the floaty trait that is given to pocketed Superballs from Hammer, and make bombs launch the Superball in consistent ways, instead of just flinging them around the map. As for the accessories, remove or rework the 25% more kinetic damage stat that Expandable provides, and finally, make con traps less frustrating to disarm with Superball. Oh, and some small fixes like imbuement outlines, targeting fixes, and random Superball physic jank bugs. That would be nice. And with that, thanks for watching. This video took an entire month to make with multiple revisions and retakes and such. I was expecting this video to take a week and be around 10 minutes long, but yeah, we got tripled that instead. But I really hope you enjoyed watching. This is my first time making a video like this, almost like a review of something, but it's a little rough. Feel free to leave constructive criticism on my points or the video itself. I really do mean constructive. I won't listen to you if you're an asshole. It's really the only way I get better at this whole thing, and I will really appreciate it. This video will be posted onto the suggestions forum, so if you agree with what I have to say about the Superball, feel free to star. But only if you agree. Don't just star because that's me. That would be bad and stupid. And with that, please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, man. I work so damn hard on this, please.